What's going on, fellow Knicks fans? Welcome to another episode of Knicks Latest. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below. I am Josh Rodriguez. We're going to be bringing you all the headlines, all the rumors, everything New York Knicks offseason. Summer League starts this weekend. Excited for that. But first, let's get into the main subject of the day. I mean, it's going to be some slow days throughout the offseason, but this from Bleacher Report reporting that the Knicks have no interest in Russell Westbrook. And I got to say, thank you. Thank goodness, because I think the last thing that this team needed was a Russell Westbrook. I understand that's going to be a very polarizing take from Knicks fans or just people in the NBA in general. Russell Westbrook is one of the more polarizing players, I think, in NBA history. But for me personally, I don't think he fits this roster, especially when you have someone like a Josh Hart on the team, somebody who defenses already sag off of. So if you get Russell Westbrook and keep Josh Hart, you can't play him at the same time. That kind of messes with lineup changes. And then also you have Jordan Clarkson, you have Deuce McBride. Where is he going to fit into that rotation on the bench because he's not starting? So for me, it just never really made sense. Whether you like or dislike Russell Westbrook, the fact is that his strengths right now would not work too well with his team. It is true that Mike Brown did say that he wants to run the basketball more, and Russ can do that for you. I think he had a good year in Denver last year, to give him credit. I think he fit very well with that Denver Nuggets team, running with Jokic, running with the first unit when he was in there, running with the second unit when he was in there. But the fact of the matter is, defenses sag off of him in certain situations, and that was a huge problem with the Knicks lineup last year whenever they played Josh Hart. And Josh Hart's one of my favorite Knicks, if not my favorite Knick on the team. But that was something Tom Thibodeau never really figured out, right? What are we going to do when they put a big on Josh Hart and defenses sag? Well, guess what? They're going to do the same thing for Russell Westbrook. And then on top of that, he's one of the more erratic players in the league. You're going to get some highlight plays. You're going to get some flashes of brilliance, but you're also going to get mind-boggling turnovers and boneheaded plays along the way as well. I don't want to sit here and say there's a reason why he's never won an NBA championship, but I also do think there is a reason why he's bouncing from team to team, and a lot of teams don't really want to invest long-term energy with him. He's somebody who you bring onto your team, hopefully provides a spark. Sometimes, though, it hasn't really worked out like it did with the Lakers. So for me, happy to hear this. Very satisfied to hear this. Russell Westbrook was someone who I was worried the Knicks were going to acquire. Would rather have Clarkson, would rather have someone like a Yabusele in the front court. I think the Knicks, with the lack of money they had going into this offseason, I think they did pretty well. And they have room for one more, it seems like, somebody on the vet minimum. Yesterday, talked about, maybe Gary Payton Jr. Today, thinking about this roster construction, is Huck Porty going to be the backup big man? It looks like it right now, but if you're not comfortable with Huck Porty, maybe there's another big man out there to replace him. Right now, it's looking like Thomas Bryant's name is on the block. Could be that guy. Again, going back to SB Nation's posting and toasting, it was in that article that, Thomas Bryant could fit the Knicks. He shoots 41% from the corner, three-pointer, so he can stretch the floor out. I know that's something that Mike Brown would like. That's something that I would personally like. I would like a center who can stretch the floor out, a backup center, so when Karl-Anthony Towns goes out the game, we don't necessarily have to change our offense too much. He makes some sense there. He did have a little bit of revival in Indiana. I thought he played well against the Knicks. I thought he played well in the playoffs. So, he's somebody who's not afraid of the moment, somebody who seems like he knows his role, is confident in his abilities. I would not mind Thomas Bryant at all. He's somebody who, if the Knicks were to sign him to a vet minimum, I would, listen, you and Huck Porty battle it out, because I like Huck Porty too. I think he brings a lot of good to the table as well. It's looking like Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson are going to be starting this year, so that backup big, that's something that is up in the air right now, even though Huck Porty seems to be the favorite to land that job. I wouldn't mind Thomas Bryant at all. Wouldn't mind him at all. Also reported, Rick Brunson is being demoted. He was the lead assistant coach for the New York Knicks last year under Tom Thibodeau. Now Mike Brown comes in. Typically, when a new coach comes in, you get a new staff. It is what it is. He picks his staff, and obviously Rick, being the father of Jalen Brunson, Rick's not going anywhere. I don't think this demotion is that big of a deal. Jalen seems to be a pro. It doesn't really seem like he's going to let that affect him. I think Rick understands the situation. I don't think he would be insulted or is insulted Honestly, I don't know what that means as far as his paycheck, but if the paycheck's the same, I guarantee you they're going to be fine, right? This is not an AAU team or a high school basketball team where the coach's son gets to do whatever he wants and he runs the show, right? I'm not worried about that. Jalen Brunson is our best player anyway, so it's not like, we're going to be force-feeding the ball to someone who doesn't deserve it. Everything is going to run through Jalen with or without Rick Brunson. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I saw on Gil's Arena they were kind of talking about it, maybe saying that it could be one, but I don't think it is at all. I think that it's just, it is what it is. In the NBA, head coaches come and go, and when they go, typically their assistants go as well. But Rick is staying because his son is on the team. I think he realizes that. I think Jalen realizes that. I don't think this is a big deal at all. I think, we're dealing with grown adults here who understand the business and who are going to move forward. So that doesn't concern me at all. Let me know if it concerns you in the comment section below. Also subscribe. The Knicks have one more roster spot. Let me know who you want that to be. We talked about Marcus Smart. We talked about Gary Payton Jr. We talked about Thomas Bryant. Is there somebody out there who you would want the Knicks to sign at a very cheap price? The trade rumors have died down with Karl Anthony Towns and the Mikal Bridges. Maybe that comes up again. I'm not sure. I saw Nick Wright talking about LeBron possibly coming to the Knicks. I don't see that happening. And until there's real smoke, I won't be talking about it too much unless, there's some article that comes out that it could be happening. But it's going to be a very interesting offseason. Excited to see, Knicks' young talent, especially Dink Pate, this upcoming weekend in Las Vegas. We'll have an episode tomorrow as well. Until then, I'll catch you for an episode of Knicks Latest. Peace.